Hey, Vicky.
Well,
It's a
hello.
happy year. We'll get started in a couple of minutes.
Can you hear me okay?
Grab your
Okay.
favorite cup of water or beverage, and we'll
All
see you in
right.
2 minutes.
All right.
Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to
Hello.
see you. Hey, oh my goodness. Hey, Wendy, Vicky. Hey, Don.
Hey, Miss Dawn. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well. Oh my goodness. I am so grateful that two of you have joined. There are several others that may be coming in, and some have already said, send me the review because they had meetings
Okay.
or are out of the office. So I'm grateful for you all being here. Just want to get some things going. How's everyone doing? Because I know we got the ice Mageddon in Middle Tennessee. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Uh, yeah, I'm well. I'm blessed. I'm thankful I didn't suffer through any outage. So I call that a great blessing.
That
Mm,
is so good. That
that's
is
But
so
good.
yeah,
good.
I don't like
Yeah,
being in the freezer. I don't like cold weather. It's not for
me
me.
either. Yeah, I know we've had this conversation many times, but I prefer beach and flip-flops.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
24
it.
7, 365. That is truly
Oh,
my happy place.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I thank you all for being here and being on time. And what we will do is go ahead and jump in. So I would like to give us all an opportunity, first of all, to say thank you to my esteemed colleagues. I consider everyone who I invited to this space today as what I call my tribe, my crew, my people. All of you have worked with me in some capacity over the past 15 to 20 years. And a number of you have been able to call me friend as well. So I'm grateful for you being here. I am Dawn Stone, speaker, consultant, and coach, curator of the Unburdened Women's Movement, and also formerly known as the Conflict Chick. I work with organizations and leaders to help them resolve the things that so easily beset them by leveraging emotional intelligence and a little grit and some smiles from here and there. So I'm just grateful for you all being here. So I would like to, if it's okay with you, to introduce yourself to the space so my friends can know my other friends. And, with the collaborations that we do have, we may be able to work together because I think we are stronger and better together. So I want to make sure we introduce who's in the space and what you do. So as we have this executive briefing and talk about some of the things that we need to look forward to in 2026, we are crystal clear about who's available, what our capacity is, and how we can help one another. So who would like to go first? And welcome to you as well, Natalie. I know you're setting Lily in as well. Who would like to introduce themselves first? What they
I'll
do?
go. I'll go first. Yeah. Hi, my name is Vicky Starks. I am currently the training officer for the Nashville After Zone Alliance, which is known as NASA. Our department is housed in the Nashville Public Library. So, as in my role, I get to coordinate professional development trainings for the youth professionals in our city. And yeah, we have some great. Dawn has been a facilitator for a couple of our sessions. So yeah, it's a great job and I enjoy it a lot. So that's what
Absolutely.
I do.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you so much. And oh, Vicky, before we move to Wendy and Nellie, what is one challenge you are
Oh,
facing
wait.
or feel that you will face in this year?
Say that again. I had a little glitch in my video. Say that
Yes.
one more
What
time.
what is one challenge that you feel your leaders will face in this year?
Oh, wow. I have been, Dawn, to be honest, I have been so focused. We have a conference coming up March the 5th.
Yes.
That's going to be held at the Deloitte Conference Center. If you've never been to that building, that's a wonderful space. So
Mm.
I have been so focused on that since the holidays. I don't know. I'm just, we deal with after school providers, different organizations. So we just, always want to make sure we offer them the best support that we can as they take care of our babies around the city. So I guess we're always striving to have them be excellent and yeah, we want to help them achieve that.
So
So I
what
guess
is the theme for this year? Because I remember speaking at that one a few years back, and we were all
yeah,
talking about
you are
the
a keynote. We just
yes,
keep it the same, learn, engage, develop,
gotcha,
LED. We just, and this is our fourth one. So yeah, but it's
yes.
March the 5th, from 8 to 2, and it's free. But yeah, come by if you
I'm in
can.
town.
If
I'll
not,
come check that out. It's always very good. So see, go ahead
okay,
and give
I'll
that
send you.
shameless plug. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, fill the room, fill the room. It's always great to be in that
Yes.
space because the leadership development things that you all bring forward are necessary. So I've
Yeah.
even been a student in my own class.
Well, I should say our big we don't have a theme per se, but our big panel discussion is going to be about AI.
Oh,
So,
come
yeah.
on.
So
Oh, we're getting on that
yeah,
today.
that's our big opener. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank
All
you,
right.
Vicky.
Don't get me talking. I'll be rambling the whole time.
Well, we will definitely get it all in. I appreciate you being here. Wendy, what about
Hi.
you?
Hi, everybody. Wendy Corley. I am currently a senior business analyst at HCA. I've been in this space for a couple of years, and I think the biggest part of my role is really bridging the gap between our stakeholders and automation. Vicki, it's funny that you mentioned AI. The automations that my team builds they have started to look into integrations with AI technology to help us with fine tuning the automations that we create. And a lot of our automations are around customer benefits and then also in facilities where the nurses or registrars may be doing manual processes. So integrating AI is kind of some of our goals for this year is to identify how we can use it, how we can make things better, and then of course making it safe because we deal with a lot of customer and patient information. So we'll be delving into that realm this year. So thanks. Glad to be here today.
Absolutely, Wendy. So grateful to have you in this space as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Natalie.
Let me look
Hello.
around. Hello, everyone. I'm Natalie Borneo. I am currently a lecturer at Fisk University, leading the effort to build the risk and insurance program. Happy to say that by the fall of 2026, we should be offering a minor in risk management and insurance through the Business Administration Department. Um, in terms of challenge, we are already seeing an impact on the access and recruitment of students from HBCUs into corporate opportunities. So, as a result of the climate of the current administration, we all witnessed the shrinkage and disappearance of DEI as a priority for a lot of organizations. Well, it's through that lens, the DEI and inclusiveness, we were able to get recruitment at a level that was motivating and exciting for students and the right access point for them because it's all about access, right? How you access, where you get access. Those points are changing because the recruitment schedules have changed. They've been reduced. The focus has been a little different. The funding is looking a little funny. So I think the challenge for my colleagues in academia, I don't claim it, it's widespread, is that we're going to have to do a lot more to prepare our young people to get the attention they need in the world of work. And we're going to have to credential them and prepare them to be ultra competitive because they no longer have a priority access point available to them.
Thank you, Natalie. Appreciate you being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my goodness, this is going to be such a rich conversation, and we'll have to do more of these. Thank you
Yeah.
all for being here. Now,
Now,
I see
I
where,
attended this too.
uh-huh.
I graduated in '06. I went to Fish as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Water.
excellent.
Yes. So before I forget, make sure you put your contact information if you want to stay in touch with the leaders here. Again, this is my small group of mighty people who are doing great things in your respective spaces. So if you want, go ahead and drop your contact information in there, or at least a LinkedIn, um, your page on LinkedIn, so we can connect. And I did see where Jeffrey also joined. Are you able to speak, Jeffrey?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought I was on mute, but yeah, I'm here. I'm going to stay kind of hidden because I'm
Okay.
in the midst of some family things in Colorado. But I definitely wanted to pay attention and offer anything I might be able to. But it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah. So Jeffrey, could you tell them who you are, and prayers and support to you, my brother, as well as traveling grace?
Thank you, Don. Yes, Jeffrey Berry is my name, and I've been in the nonprofit space for like 30 years and 33 professionally. I'm CEO of Tennessee Environmental Council, and it's obviously challenging work, and always looking for kind of the moral support that these sorts of webinars or conversations bring and offer. So thank you for it. I am in Colorado. My mom passed away in November, and so we're having her memorial service this weekend. So we got family coming in and getting ready and all that. So that's where I am. But thank you, Don. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey. So he will be in the background, but I'm going to tell you, a powerhouse in this climate justice space. Jeffrey and I have been spending some years together just in love and life. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. And so, it hurts my heart to hear what I'm hearing, but you did your thing as a son. I will tell you that I've
Uh-huh.
watched
Thank
you.
you.
I have watched you navigate this journey with your mom. And I just appreciate you for even
Yeah.
showing up today.
Yeah, oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and kind of go through some of the things that I wanted to share for 2026. As many of you know, actually, as all of you know, but maybe someone who's reviewing this later, I have been in my consultancy strong and hard in this space for 15 years, effective um, February 2nd. So we're right on 15 years. And over those years, there have been a lot of different trends and things that have come and gone. And all of you are living it in your day to day as well as in your personal life. But I want to share today some things and some trends that have shown up in my radar on the last 3 to 5 years, really good, but tight in this last year and a half that I really feel that we need to consider. Okay. So I'm going to go through. This is going to be as interactive as you want. Questions, feedback, feel free to do that. It's a small, intimate group on purpose. Like I told you, I only hand selected the people I wanted to be here. So it's good. Monica, good to see you here as well. Monica, I'm going to jump into the briefing, but if you want, would you mind coming off mute and introducing yourself to all of us who are here in this space? Let them know who you are and why you are magnificent.
Oh, wow. Is it morning? Good
So,
afternoon,
yeah.
everyone. My name is Monica McLaurin, and I am the NASA's, which stands for Nashville After Zone Alliance Capacity Building and Grants Manager. Um, Thank you, Don, for thinking of me and inviting. I apologize for my lateness. I was on another call. But why am I fabulous? Um,
You do big things.
uh, um, I couldn't hear that. What'd you say?
I said you do big things in the
I,
city. So
I think so. I appreciate that. Nice
we
to meet everyone.
yes, thank you so much. So Monica and Vicky really hold down the fort when it comes to. I like to think of you two specifically as the gateway for our students after the bell rings, and so making sure you are training and developing the students in the aftercare programs and all the other care things that we do. We don't realize that there's an entire ecosystem of people who are still helping us do the things that we do every day. And so you guys do that really well, and you train the leaders to be able to navigate the mess. Because I recall a couple of contracts with you guys several years back, going in and teaching the kids conflict resolution skills. It's stuff that we don't think about, but
You
that
might
also
have sounded like kids, but we deal with the providers,
yes.
the people who actually are hands-on. A lot of times people think that we are hands-on with the youth. We do have a
Mm-mm.
division that do work with our youth, but Vicky and I, we mainly work with our after-school professionals and making sure that they're get training because there in the state of Tennessee, there is no requirement for professional development and people who work in after school spaces. So
Exactly.
that is our job to be able to do that.
And that's why I say y'all doing really well, because state to state is not it's not the case. So you all are managing the people who have to manage the kids. And so giving them the skills, it has been a pleasure to have worked with y'all the past, oh my goodness, 8 years, 8 or 9, maybe 10. Oh, dating myself. Let's get on.
I think the last time you did a couple of workshops for us, and you were also our keynote speaker at our
Yep,
first LED conference, which that was
that was
almost 4 years ago now.
yep, it was. Oh, disturbed. Well, we're going to talk about why this conversation, why now? Why is it important for us to start in January speaking about the things that we've talked about? We've heard access to leadership in corporate spaces, training and development of leaders who are caring for our youth after the bell rings, working in climate justice spaces and other places where there are true disparities. What I have found is that in the latest report, 71% of senior leaders reported complexity and decision load compared to 2020. So what that means in short is we are seeing more of our senior people, you and the ones that you have reporting to you, basically expressing that the complexity of doing the job is getting more burdensome as opposed to lighter. And this is compared to the pre-2020. So when the pandemic hit, there were extra layers of things that we had to consider. So like now we're seeing emotional intelligence is more prevalent, and people are actively dealing with and asking our leaders to take care of their mental health as well as their physical health. Leaders are also saying that moving faster and further with less certainty has been a theme, and a couple of you have talked about the use of AI. And when we talk about at the adult level, future of work for FISC students and students across the board, there was a report this morning that talked about Gen Z. Did you realize that Gen Z has more anxiety when it comes to AI integration than any other generation? And that does include boomers. And some of the theories is that they're taught and brought up as a native tech generation, but did we train them to use the tech effectively? And just like Natalie said, it's impacting their ability to even persist in an environment that they are learning as well as having tech at the same time. So what you're seeing is a lot of trends where the zillennials and late millennials are losing their jobs at a higher rate than we've seen in years past. And so when we talk about the strain of leaders, this is kind of what we're talking about. There's also decision fatigue, but in addition to decision fatigue, there is also a gap in skill. So upskilling has become something that is now germane to every leader, regardless of how long you've been there, what generation you're a part of, what industry you're in. When you take, for instance, someone starting a new career, they not only have to understand and navigate the politics of that space, they also have to have the skills to do the job of a job that may be changing because of the use of AI or the integration of AI or the absence of artificial intelligence. How does that work today and tomorrow? So when we think about the future of work, most of the theorists and the ones who are the thought leaders leading the space are saying that artificial intelligence now is considered mainstream, and every organization must become adept and aware without exception. In fact, if you look at the 2026 report of the top jobs exiting this year, it's going to be all around AI and the navigation of AI. So artificial intelligence intellectuals are going to be great, whether you are a prompt engineer, meaning you are helping feed the machine, the large language model for your organization, comes to Wendy's point. They're now looking at how do we take our current integrations and layer artificial intelligence so that way we can automate and streamline some things, right? Because leaders a lot of times are spending about 40% of their time resolving misunderstandings or doing rework. So we've got the human intelligence, the emotional intelligence, and the artificial intelligence for the first time on the same stage. 5 of the top 10 jobs for 2026 are AI related. Are we ready? In fact, if you were listening last year, there are a lot of memes going around that said, you know what? You don't have to take AI. You don't even have to do anything about it. But I tell you what, you will be replaced by a person who uses it. It is absolutely true. The speed of AI is impacting the way that we are able to navigate any and everything. So when we look at 65% of our meetings failing to produce what we call clear decisions or next steps, there are workforce automations right now that can take that very tool, those meetings, and basically extrapolate an entire plan for you, put it in a PowerPoint, and submit it to you within 5 to 7 minutes. When we think about that, is that scary or something that is inviting to you? You can put it in the chat or you can come off mute. What do you think when you hear just that alone, that reality alone? Anything? Okay.
For me, that's a little scary. But I love the progress of it. But that is a little scary that you could, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's pretty wild. But it's a starting point. But and
Right.
it frees you up for time. So you can
Mhm.
take that, what has been generated, and move forward with it. So yeah, that saves you in time.
And that's so good. And I'm glad you said it. And I'm glad you gave a real example because, again, that's part of that psychological strain. When you think about it, is AI going to replace me? Absolutely not. Human intelligence is still the ultimate requirement, it's still the superpower. But I love the fact that you said, hey, it is scary. So now it comes down to how are we going to address the elephant in the room that is now giving us real time data on how we can improve even in our seats today. So I have this whole thought for 2026. My goal for this year is to put myself out of business, put my consulting business out of business. And this is how we're going to do it. We talk about collaboration and negotiation data. We all have information in our organizations that we do not use. In fact, according to a 2021 with the Pew survey, I'll get you the actual stat, but according to the survey, when we're looking at branding and data collection, over 80% of companies that use employee data and customer data don't use it. So why are we collecting it, right? A lot of times the collaboration starts with it's a lot of information, it's a lot of overwhelm. Now, with the integration of artificial intelligence, do you realize you can take all that data that's been sitting there in reports, in surveys, and you can actually pull it all together, including verbatims from exit interviews, reviews online, reviews from staff, performance improvement plans. All of this data can now be put into large language models like Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and give you a report in the state of your business within minutes. And so now what we want to do is take that information and just say, hey, as a team, how can we relieve this from you, right? If we can really truly collaborate and move the silo mentality for good, would that be worth it for us? So let's think about as you're moving in this year, how can we leverage artificial intelligence to help us collaborate better, help us solve problems better, help us make better decisions about the things that we want to do as an organization. So I will tell you, the days of having a whole year to create a strategic plan is out the window. That can now be done in a matter of minutes. So another key point we want to talk about with collaboration and negotiation, stress comes at will, right? It's going to be there because we as individuals are things called people, people, planet, your processes, your profits, and anything in between, right? That is going to cause you to have undue stress because of the known and the unknown. So, according to the Journal of Applied Psychology, stress reduces integrative negotiation outcomes by up to 34%. So, what that means is how can we stop thinking in our silos? How can we begin to really look out and do more through our collaborations? So, one of the reasons why I had you all introduce yourselves to each other is because a lot of times when we have these conversations, do you notice you'll be on a webinar and you may not know anyone in the room? The only time you're able to connect with someone is if they happen to drop their information or they happen to inbox you. 2026 is going to be the year of collaboration and innovation. And so in order for us to do that well, we got to start first with us, right? Because trust erosion is a real thing. And if you're anything like me, I still have workplace trauma. I am still suffering from what happened to me in 1991, 92, 93, 95, 98, 99, 2000, 2001. You get it. Okay. So, what we've got to do is really, really, really look at how we are choosing to communicate and collaborate. And there are times when we can leverage artificial intelligence to remove the human factor. So a lot of times you don't hear people who are integrators like myself talk about removing the human factor. But that's one of the key benefits of artificial intelligence. It doesn't have the feelings that you have. So allow it to assist you. It is an ultimate assistant. It will help you see things from a non-biased view, because a lot of times its bias is all about data. It's not going to have a, well, they didn't work with us, they didn't fund us, they don't like us, they talk funny, they look funny. All of that goes out the window. So it's really going to be about addressing how we are willing to collaborate in the future, because the real issue is this: it's not skill, it's our response patterns. What is a response pattern? How long does it take for you in your role today to get a decision to your team? I want y'all to think about that. How long does it take for you right now to get a decision to your team? The answer is probably going to be what? It depends, right? 90% of escalations are driven by predictable behavior patterns, not personality. You know, working in the space of human capital, AKA human resources, AKA people management, leadership, culture, what I have found is that people's personalities don't dictate an outcome. It's usually the person's perception of a personality that dictates an outcome that may or may not be true. So what we've got to do is get away from the skill piece and look at the response patterns. If I'm a slow person and I like to move slowly, when Jeffrey comes to me, for example, with a question, my response time may be, give me a couple of hours and I'll get back to you. Is that a skill issue? Absolutely not. That is a response time or an expectation that I have. So then we have to think about, how can I, as a leader, improve my response patterns to individuals? And you know, a lot of times too, when it comes to the skill versus a response, skill and wheel, like you've heard of that, called that before, but it's more of a response pattern. Sometimes we respond to other people when we're ready, or respond for other people when we feel we know the answer, right? So if it's something that we're really, really strong on and we know exactly where the organization is going, we can give you a response like that. But what happens when we cannot, all right? So leaders default to what's called avoidance. And I am the conflict chick, and I still hate conflict because I have to give a response. And sometimes the response pattern, the person may not like the answer I have. So when we think about moving through 2026, how about we can build an automation that answers those quick questions or answers those hard questions, or at least give you a framework so you're able to respond faster and more often. We're able to do that now. And I've got a tool that I share with my clients. It's called the Emotional Sustainability. It is a capacity space. It's all about your capacity to answer, your capacity to respond, knowing what you know, having who you have around you, being able to get the things you need, right? Organizations that have high emotional intelligence actually show that they can make decisions quicker. A lot of that comes down to the process. They're able to collaborate more effectively. That's because they are communicating more effectively. So the C in emotional sustainability, meaning I can perform at a level without burning out. That's really the layman's term for emotional sustainability. What is my capacity to lead without burning out? The C in that model is around your competency. You know, we talked about skills earlier, and we talked about that with the future of work and what they call career integration. When we talked about AI integration, how is that going to impact my ability or my competence to move forward with confidence. Another C, how confident am I that this deliverable is going to be an outcome that I can live with? How comfortable am I that I trust Jeffrey in his decision making? How comfortable am I and how confident am I that when we go to this conference on March 5th, that I'm going to walk away with some things that I can use to improve my life at work and at home. All right. So when we think about emotional sustainability, it's your ability to be competent, confident, right? Curious, that gets into the innovation piece, and also have clarity around the things that we need, want, and desire, which are three different things. Okay. So here's what conflict patterns do and why it matters. Leaders, if you are a leader that is considered culturally and conflict competent, you're able to make decisions faster and your team tends to trust you more. If you're able to make conflict decisions confidently, then you're also able to increase your positive behaviors over your negative behaviors. I have a tool that I deploy that's called the conflict dynamics profile. And the CDP looks at three ways that you resolve conflict. Number one, what are your hot buttons? Your hot buttons are based on values that you have. And so you're leading today, think about it. Everyone that is a constituent, a compadre, everyone who is a connector or connection to you, they have a conflict pattern. And so they have values that they want to share and show. They have positive responses to conflict and they have negative responses to conflict. Each and every one of us has a unique set of skills that allow us when we're faced with anything like a 2026, we're going to respond from those three lenses. And the driver of all of that is, what is my value system? What do I value as a person? So I want to ask, is there somebody here who would like to share one thing that they value? What is a value that you carry at work and at home that is like a non-negotiable for you?
I'll share my time. I think it's so important, right? And it's something that I have to control who has access to me, right? And that's at work and at home.
So that was good. Thank you, Wendy, for that. And you're right. And so that time impacts each and every one of us because we all have the same 168 hours until we don't. So the only time that 168 goes away from you, if you are resting in death. Okay. So when we have that 168 and we look at something that Wendy values called time, when I show up late to a meeting, what happens to Wendy? Or Wendy can tell us what happens, Wendy, if I'm late to your meetings.
Generally, I don't add any more time, right? Because there's an allotment.
Right.
So I don't add any more. The time is shortened and you may not get all the information that you need. And then we have to reschedule. And the rescheduling process with me, especially at work, is even harder because it's like when we put time on the books, we have to meet that time. That's the same thing with projects and timelines. Sometimes we don't get that extra time that we need. We have to use what we're given. So,
absolutely. Thank you for that. And so in your business, we have the exact same logic that we have built into our patterns. So remember me saying it's not a skill thing. It is a, oh, there it is. It's not a skill, that's a response pattern. So if I'm chronically late to Wendy's meetings, I'm missing information. I'm also impacting the time that others are able to share and reshare because she may want to repeat. I'm also losing more time because now I have to reschedule. So when we think about that logic and the things that we're doing to be constructive, the fact that she reschedules is a plus. I have clients that will not reschedule a meeting. If you miss it, you miss it. You can get the notes. But again, that's how AI can help. I have a phantom right here. Some of you have activated your message system so you can get the notes from this as well. So you see how something that small and minor that is nothing more than an integration into your Zoom or your WebEx or your Outlook can help you navigate that particular conflict pattern. Because I know Wendy does, and I've worked with Wendy before. Wendy does not like late. And Wendy will give you an opportunity to reschedule, but at some point, Wendy's whole time may leave my calendar altogether. And so that's the thing that we want to look at, because as we know, regardless of the industries you're in, regardless of the roles that you have, whether you're in higher education, nonprofit, for-profit, healthcare, even me, a small, medium business owner, our time is precious, and that's one thing we cannot get back nor squander. So when we look at mismatch conflict, that has cost us $359 billion annually in lost productivity. That productivity sounds like it is rescheduling a meeting. That productivity is paid time off. That productivity is sending someone to a training class who is now missing production at the office. Okay, that makes sense. But here's the thing that I will say: the cost of doing nothing this early, because I would dare to say 2025 was definitely a year for the books. Would everybody agree with that? It was interesting. It was interesting. But then as we step into 2026, and the reason why I decided to do this briefing in January, and I'm going to do one every month, because I really feel we need to look at this every single month and not wait. The cost of doing nothing, it strains your body. It strains your mind. It strains your organization. Because if you will go back right now and just kind of do a reconnaissance of the last year, you will see where there was slippage in your organization. You will see where there was slippage in your ability to show up, maybe. I will tell you, alone for me, 2025 was harmful because a number of my clients and partners suddenly became unemployed. And guess what? They were calling me. And I'm like, whoa, I have nothing to tell you, because I have multiple industries that were impacted by some of the things that occurred last year, right? So think about the cost of doing nothing in January of 2026. We can predict that it'll look a little like, if not a whole lot like, 2025. So when we're constantly being strained, that is physically taking a toll on your body as well. There's a book that's called The Body Keeps the Score, right? The body count, it remembers each and everything, because decision delays increase project costs by 20 to 30% on the average. So you think about a delay in construction, that means your house, you won't be able to move into a house in May. If you think about decision delays, you may have a grant that you're going after. A couple of you have grant responsibilities. Perhaps you missed that deadline, therefore that grant now goes away, and you got to have some creative ways of getting that money in other areas or by other means necessary. The cost of doing nothing involves this thing called burnout. And so I am personally on a mission, especially after August 16, 2021, to ensure that every leader that I'm tied to, no matter what level and what organization, my goal is to have you burn bright, not burn out. You see, I had a stress and COVID-related stroke in 2021 because of the amount of pressure I had as the Chief Impact Diversity Officer at a nonprofit here in Nashville. That stress, although I did really well, it literally almost cost me my life, literally. And what that looked like, it was more than 20 to 30%. Because when you leave, or when a person leaves, when knowledge leaves, there is money associated with it. There is time associated with it, like Wendy shared. There are people's lives associated with it. And you've heard the analogy where people say, you're upset at work, so you go home and kick the dog. Think about how many people did that last year, and people that you know did that last year. That was the cost of doing nothing. It also helps erode trust. It also helps you really understand that your loss is a lot larger than you realize. In fact, I have a conflict calculator. Do you know that every time you lose a leader in your organization, you have lost their salary times two plus whatever time they laid out or had to leave for whatever reason, and any associated residual costs like conflict with another employee, so you had to engage legal, conflict with themselves, or their mental health was at odds with the organization, and you sent them to go and do that. All of those costs extrapolated over time shows you that $100,000 employee literally costs you over $380,000 by the time they walk out the door. Because you also are looking at the cost of getting them healthy and happy, but also the cost of replacing them and then restoring the culture in your agency. Why would we do nothing? We have the ability right now to do some things because we know training alone doesn't work. Training alone doesn't work. Knowledge is lost within 24 hours after application on the average. So when we talk about sending people to training and doing things for ourselves, how do we make it stick? The key is activation, all right? Intentional action. That's the other AI. Intentional action. Action that's intentional, all right? We want to make sure that we have initiatives that add workload increase. It will add increase to them, but in a way that is automated, right? Let me think more instead of having to work more, right? We see a lot of that in manufacturing. It's really interesting. I had a client yesterday, huge global manufacturer, and their challenge is the snow. So their staff was completely unglued all week because they are in Alabama but can't get parts from certain regions. So therefore, their lines and their production is down. It's that workload increase. We're going to move it up here. Whenever they can't physically do it, it moves up here. So then the goal is, how do we get it out of our heads and onto paper and onto something that we can do? So that's called initiative fatigue from time to time. Have you had that? Where you got multiple things going on here and you know you got to do X, Y, and Z, but then you really need to do C, Q, and R before you get to X, Y, and Z? Deloitte has a really good study that talks about what initiative fatigue looks like and how we are needing to dial it back a bit, right? So what does dialing back a bit look like? One initiative, one thought, one time. Once that is done, then we can move to something else. So instead of us giving people a whole litany of things to do in a year, don't. Even on a strategic plan. And so I get to work with boards and I challenge them on this every time I get an opportunity. And they will push back. But when they decide to eliminate the need to do 15 things and do 1 to 3 really well, that organization wins. They get to keep their leaders, they get to keep their systems in place, and they get some innovation, because what a good trust-bearing nonprofit will do is tell their board what they need instead of the board telling them what to do, right? So training alone is not going to always work. And when you think about the mental load as well as the physical load, and sometimes it's both, depending on where we are in our agencies. So what does a reset look like, and why are we asking for a reset in January? Brief targeted interventions work well. Now, in your particular spaces, we got higher ed, healthcare, IT, people leadership, nonprofits, climate justice, environmental justice, schools, school support, after school support, different things, right? Education. So we call this education. So what we need to look at is, what is a targeted intervention that you can do right now to improve decision making for you or for your team? Because a lot of times when we talk about a reset, it has to start with you. That's why I have my close knit folks right here. What are you prepared to do differently this year? Let the last 2 to 3 years be data that you assess and say, hey, I did this really well, or I really struggled in this area. What is one brief decision making thing you can change right now? And if you do that, you will improve your own ability to make impact by 20 to 25%. If anybody wants a challenge on that, y'all call me, text me, you all have my number. Let's do it. I'll lock in with you and hold you accountable and give you tools and be a thought partner with you. Because this year we really have to do things differently. Leadership pause is reduce error rates by 18%. So this is for that leader who always has a solution. If you're like me, I'm solution oriented, but guess what? My solutions are always not great. Okay. I fail miserably sometimes. So then it becomes, how can I put maybe in a intervention? An intervention may be an AI thing. So I do check myself in AI a lot of times. My intervention is also leaders like you. I will call up Wendy and be like, Wendy, can you look over this for me? Can you do this? Because I'm looking through one lens and I know what works for me, but Wendy has a different view, right? So how can we do more of that? That comes into that collaboration that we were talking about a few slides back. And then I want you to think about all the systems within your organization right now. How are they weighing you down and also propelling you forward? How are the systems in your organization right now weighing you down, and what are the ones that are propelling you forward? Systems of all kinds. It could be funding, could be recruitment and retention of folks. It could be maybe at the high education level, it might be access to other programs, other training, partnerships. Look at it. Because if you look at the systems that are impacting your ability to be great, your team's ability to be great, you may be able to take what we call a systems level intervention to get the impact that you need. And the thing is, these are short ramps. You can literally take one of these things, whether it's a personal one or one that's for your business or process change, and you will see its impact within 30 to 90 days. So what happens in that reset? You'll have immediate reduction in coordination friction, right? If I'm talking to you now more and my line goes down, I'm gonna let somebody know, right? In Wendy's case, the nurses are finally saying, hey, we're overburdened. We're still doing over here manually checking charts and updating things and writing handwritten messages to the pharmacy to change XYZ's whatever. That's not working. Immediate reduction in coordination friction. Maybe in the higher ed space, when we're talking about doing more to prepare our young people, maybe it's bringing in more folks who have done this well, who could come in and mentor the students. Or maybe finding another institution that has funding that isn't impacted as much, partner with them on an initiative to secure more funding, to help your students also get a different perspective. Clear indication of the top 3 pressure points. That's what we got to do. You're going to know exactly what it is. When you hone in on one piece of your intervention, you will find 3 ways that you can improve it just because it's going to get better. I think back to people leadership. I was managing, oh my goodness, 3 generations, and I was the 4th. Do y'all know how hard it was? And I was like, I don't even want this job. It was horrible, but I had to do the same thing. Dawn, what can you do better? Slow down. That was my thing. Slow down and get to know the people. Because relationship building in my strength finders, non-existent. My head is too process driven. I will get things done. I will go for the nail. They said the hammer with the nail, that's done. So that reset allowed me to have a different outcome. So all of those leaders are now outperforming where we were 4 years ago. One has been promoted twice, and she's a millennial and she is outstanding. But when I acquired her, she was ready to quit, literally. And they gave her to me because I think they thought I was going to fire her, but I didn't. That's when the reset works. So improve your leadership alignment within the next 30 days. Let's work on that because we can do something different. If there's something that you, the slide, excuse the font, it slipped a bit. But let's talk about the benefits. Not only would you benefit as a leader, your productivity is better, your retention rates are higher, your stress levels go down, and you don't have to kick the dog. Women actually benefit most. Do you know that over 70% of the working bodies in workplaces are held by women and people who identify as woman, female, she, her? Okay. So organizations that are growing or managing and navigating transitions well, or have very what they call event heavy cycles, those women would benefit most from it. Okay. Teams with high competence and rise in fatigue, we got to get us a reset because again, those are the people who would benefit most from an intervention. And then you look at leaders who are navigating what I call internal negotiations and cross-functional tension. I want to talk about this. In the first quarter of a year in most industries, people are putting on their best face right now, right? We're putting on our best face because we want a promotion. We want to be able to get all of our things that we need for the year, or we've already been promised something from last year, or we're looking for a new opportunity. So when we think about ways to kind of channel the growth and remove the personal piece out, remove ourselves from it, and just see how we can be emotionally intelligent in that moment, how we can leverage systems and people and other resources and get out of our own way, we all experience exponential growth. Because psychological safety at the end of the day is what we all really need, even in the positions that we're in. As an advisor, as a speaker, as a coach, I too have to ensure psychological safety, right? So when you get insight and you have the language that matters and resonates and the language that allows you to build trust, that collaboration will grow around 12%, just in that. And it also allows you, when there is psychological safety, you can tip the hand in your favor for change, or tip your hand in favor of a decision that can be made. You can be the person that actually influences the decision when you create safe spaces. So next steps I do have in the month of March. I told you I'll be doing these every month. So I did the January. I have another briefing in February, which will be AI focused. I will be inviting you again. It'll be just like this, a forum free for us. You'll get an email directly from me and have you come in. And in that next session, that February session, I want you to think about the things you need to be able to deploy. So bring your fears, your anxiety. If you're going to test something in February, let me know what you're going to test. Let's talk about it. Let's leverage who's in the room. Because again, if you're thinking about something here and you share it here, you may be able to connect with someone who can help you get what you need a lot faster. Because what I've also learned as a chief in an organization, I was lonely. I felt I was the only one going through some of these things. So you know how they used to talk about the imposter syndrome? The imposter syndrome is nothing more than a bunch of knowledge that you don't realize that you can activate. You sometimes sit on something so great that you don't realize the true value of your impact. And so that's what these briefings are about, bringing the brilliant minds together so we collectively can drive change in our respective spaces. And I also want you all to get to know one another because there's some synergies here that exist that we didn't have 30 minutes ago, 40 minutes ago. So next steps in my space. In March, I will be launching a 90-minute organizational reset. I have those available. If you wanted to get an assessment of where you are, I've got tools. All you have to do is let me know. I've got some tools that I can send you on culture, tools I can send you on conflict. So that way you can send it out to your team, let them evaluate it. You send it to me and I'll generate the report for you and let you know what your culture grid looks like. I also have some 90-minute resets for anyone who's interested in building this out for themselves and taking that one thing and doing an intervention and letting me walk alongside you and your team. We can do that, all right? Because we're not in this by ourselves. We are definitely in this pool of life together. And now with global integrations and artificial intelligence and decision intelligence, we are all here to make each other better and to continue to rise rested. I want to thank you all for being here in this space with me. I am grateful for you. If you want to get my newsletter, if you're not already on it, let me know, or you can scan the barcode there. I talk about this stuff every single Tuesday at 9 a.m. in an email. And I guarantee you that it won't be junk, because what we are talking about is stuff like this. And I wanted to bring it to the forefront. Those of you who are navigating things right now and need a little help or even need a friend, I am here to listen. You can always call and vent to me. I want you to know that I am here as a resource. Because all of us together are better than us sitting on our shelves and in our offices going, because I know I did it.
Thank you for this, Dawn. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. Prayers and blessings. Honor to your mom and the memories there. I want to thank each and every one of y'all, Vicki, Natalie, Jeffrey, Monica, and Wendy for being here. And those of you who are watching it on the review, the rewind, y'all let me know what y'all need as well. Okay.
All right, everybody.
Dawn,
All right. Go and be
Thanks,
great.
everybody.
Continue to do your work. It's been wonderful.
Thanks,
I will see you
everybody.
next month.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Dawn.
Bye.
Bye-bye.